Well, hello everybody and welcome to the Spotlight on Google Sales series. We are so excited to give you a glimpse into Google Customer Solutions Organisation today, otherwise known as GCS. So we will use that acronym quite a bit through this presentation. So my name is Jessica Barton and you can call me Jess. I'm one of the leaders here at GCS and I will be your MC for today. So before we begin, I would like to do an acknowledgement of country. I and many of us on the call are based in Australia, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of this land, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, and I give thanks to them and their elders past and present. I'm joining you today from the Eora Nation, also known as Sydney, a place that is the traditional land of the Gadigal people. So before we get going, I'd like to share a fun fact about me, what I do outside of my day job. Two things which are really, really important to my values. So I'm the RAP Partnerships Lead for Google Australia. That's our Reconciliation Action Plan. And at Google, we have a vision of empowerment and equitable opportunity for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and commit to building reconciliation through Google's technology, platforms and people. So something I'm really, really proud to be a part of. I'm also a ceramic artist on the weekend, which is very, very important to my well-being and also remaining creative. So a little bit of background on my professional experience. So I started in this industry. I fell into this industry about 20 years ago. And I'm sure that a lot of you on the call will agree that you often fall into sales and media. I graduated with a degree in journalism and I was sent over to our advertising team to help one day within a magazine that I was working for, and I just fell in love with ad sales. And the reason why is because I was really able to understand the business behind what moves the media along, which is basically sales. So I spent some time in magazines and then I moved into the outdoor industry, which I absolutely loved, and I was there for about 5 years. And as the industry really started to digitize quickly and accelerate at that, I knew that I needed to start to build skills in the digital world. So I have been selling and leading teams along the way through my career, and I came to Google 7.5 years ago. Which has been such an incredible ride. I have led major partnership negotiations for some of our largest agencies. I've designed and led numerous digital transformation partnerships with some of our largest customers. And I currently lead a team of 9, soon to be 13, we are hiring, high-performing, hungry, energetic, and really, really intelligent GCS sellers. And my role is currently head of lead generation and I'm in the mid-market sales team. I also completed my MBA in 2019, my exec MBA at the University of New South Wales. So I was doing that part-time while working for this incredible company full-time. So everyone, I'm so excited to be here today. And when our incredible recruitment team reached out to us and to me to help facilitate this, I jumped at the chance. As a leader at GCS, I'm really committed, along with my peers, to building a strong, high-performing and happy culture. And diversity is at the heart of this. And what I mean by diversity as a leader is diversity of thought, diversity of background, diversity of experience, and diversity of working style. It's really what makes this culture so strong at GCS. And it's what helps us solve problems really quickly and enables us to come with really incredible, innovative ideas. So an event like this really enables us to tap into the future generation and the future talent of GCS that we're all really committed to building here. So the goal of today's event is to give you a look inside to the GCS organisation. We'll share more about our values and what we believe, examples of our work and impact, and more about the career opportunities available to the GCS organisation through featured presentations from GCS Googlers and our recruiting team. Our chat is open and we are ready to answer all of your questions via the comment section on our incredible YouTube platform. And we hope that you leave today's session with a good sense of really what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. So I'm going to hand over to our country manager, the wonderful John Ball. Over to you, John, and I'll see everybody soon.
Thank you so much, Jess. And it is so awesome to be with everybody today. My name's John. I look after the business here for Australia and New Zealand. And I didn't realise, like Jess, I've been at Google for 7.5 years. And I also completed an MBA part-time as well. So the things you get to know about each other when we're doing these presentations. I grew up in Sydney in the Sutherland Shire, and probably actually just like Jess, I stumbled into IT 36 years ago as the first PCs were getting rolled out, and my mum thought it would be a good idea, so I went down that pathway. Started as a software developer, ended up in sales and marketing, and have loved that for the last 25 years. It's just been amazing. Prior to Google, spent 17 years at Microsoft, in 13 years living abroad in different countries, doing different things. And it really, truly has been just an awesome experience. Google is an incredible company. And every day I literally say how grateful I am to be a part of this team and to work with incredible people just like Jess, who inspires and motivates and brings the best out of everybody. And that truly is one of the most magical parts about being in this organization. So what does GCS do, and what gets us up in the morning? Well, the most important thing for me is we help businesses grow. We help innovators realize their dreams. Through Google's ad tech and through what we do, it really helps them make a difference. I wanted to share just a quick customer story and there's so many, but one that just sort of springs to mind. I've had a chance over this time to work with a company called Vuli Trampolines, and the founder, CEO is Joe Andon, a wonderful person. And he's taken that business from literally nothing and an idea to #1 business of the year last year in Brizzy. Just an incredible success story. He had the idea that he wanted to sell something that was large, that was not being sold on the internet at that time, so it was large and experiential and not being there. One night, and obviously great success now, I was at dinner with Joe and we're chatting about things. I said, tell me, what's the secret? How did you make this happen? How did you actually go from there to where you are today in business of the year? And he says, it's actually really simple. I actually partnered with Google and they helped me get customers coming to my store. I had shivers down my spine. I thought, wow, that is incredible, the difference we make, how we change people's lives. And there's hundreds and hundreds of people now in his business, 300 patents that he has around trampoline technology, all because we actually help that business grow. It's what gets me up every day. It's what inspires me. And actually meeting with incredible innovators and businesses across the country and Australia and New Zealand is truly motivational and something that really continues to drive me every single day. The GCS organization broadly in total is about 200 people, and we have all sorts of different roles. I think we have about 20 open positions at the moment. And so we would love people to come and actually talk to us about those roles and come and explore the organization. Whether they're an individual seller, managers, product specialists, across the range, there's all different types of roles we're actually looking for. The most important thing as we think about this is that our teams become trusted advisors and almost an extension to these companies we work with. And that is so important, that we have the knowledge and the skills and we bring these capabilities together, which is really, really important. We hire all sorts of people that don't necessarily have Google product expertise. When I joined Google, I'd never sold advertising, never worked with an ad platform before, and I got in. So I'm sure the people that are listening today, you will do just fine. So when you come in, we're looking for core attributes and capabilities as opposed to a specific product. We have the training programs and the skills development to make sure you get all of that. But it's those core capabilities we're actually looking at bringing together, and so that you can actually help, again, customers grow and achieve their dreams, which is so important. We've seen many individuals come straight out of university, spend some time with us, and Google's a big corporation, and we've seen them move off into other countries around the world, other teams, And the most important thing is realizing their dreams, those things that are most important to them. One of the things that Jess mentioned, and I hold really dear to my heart as well, is having a team that is truly inclusive, that everybody can bring their whole self into the office and feel really comfortable, and ensuring that we have a culture and an environment that is one of the most important pillars that we have, that we lead and we guide and we make sure that is actually in place. Really, really proud of that. And it's the thing that actually keeps me really excited every day as well. When I went through the hiring process myself, I think they couldn't decide whether I should come or not. And I had 9 interviews. We actually don't do that many interviews anymore, but I had 9. And I share that with you, just that every time I had an interview, I met this person, and I was so inspired by the interview, the questions, the people I got to meet. And I thought, yeah, look, that's like this dating process and everyone shows up really well in the interviews, but will it be the same when I got into the company? And I can tell you, 7.5 years on, the people is the number one reason to join the company. It is amazing. The talent, the capability, the smart people you get to work with, truly amazing people. And it's the people that make it so great. It's not the free lunches. It's not the massages. It's not all these other things. It truly is the people. They inspire, they motivate, they make you better. And you've met Jess, and you'll meet many others today. And I think by the end of this time, you'll really see that is the thing that differentiates Google and makes Google an incredible place to be a part of. So let me just wrap it up, is that it's an amazing place. It's somewhere that we help customers achieve their goals, but importantly, we also help you achieve yours, your career goals, your aspirations, the things you want to do to be your best self. And you do that in an environment with people that are amazing all around you. Talking about amazing people that help you be your best, let me hand back to Jess, who's going to do exactly that. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, John. And thank you so much for making the time today to share your thoughts and your wisdom to everyone on the call. So can you believe it's been 20 years since Larry and Sergey founded Google in 1998, or more than 20 years, actually. So when I just finished university, Google was very new, and we were all trying to figure out what this place was. And while our growth and scale of the company has changed those early days, since Menlo, California, which is where it started, our mission of making the world's information universally accessible and useful has never changed. So this is a company that has never changed its mission in over 20 years, which is pretty phenomenal. And it's a mission that you remember working at Google. This mission is special to me because no matter what job you have at the company, whether it's in sales, tech, marketing, or otherwise, all of us are held to the same standards, which is ensuring that the projects and the products that we're working on is really creating meaningful impact to our users. And I can say that from being at Google for 7.5 years, having taken on quite a few different roles, this is what anchors me in every role that I go into. So a little bit more about what we do at GCS, Google Customer Solutions. So John touched on it a little bit before, gave you a great customer story. So I'm going to go a little bit deeper so you can understand a little bit more about what we do in this particular organization, and I'll also share a customer story with you as well. So the GCS team is really dedicated to recognizing business goals and providing Google advertising solutions to cultivate business success. Not just for Google, but for our customers. And this is what's so rewarding about being a part of GCS. We're responsible for growing the advertising business by educating, solution promoting, and consulting with customers directly. It's a big, big part of what we do. So coming into the GCS team, if you would be interested to, you will be focusing on identifying opportunities where we have increased this impact for our customers and businesses. So it's about finding those high impact paths to really drive accelerated business growth for some of our most important customers. So when our millions of advertisers and publishers are happy, so are we. If we think about going back to Google's mission, Our GCS team of entrepreneurial, enthusiastic and client-focused members are really the human face of Google, helping entrepreneurs both individually and broadly build their online presence and grow their businesses. We're really dedicated to growing the unique needs of advertising companies and marketers. Our team of strategists, analysts, advisors, and support specialists collaborate closely to spot and analyse customer needs and trends. So John spoke about all the different roles that we have within GCS. That's a really good example. So in collaboration, we create and we implement business plans that drive future growth for companies across all different types of businesses. So in my role, we work with a lot of different lead generation clients, retail customers, e-commerce customers, which brings me to this example here, which I absolutely love. And a lot of you have probably slept on a koala mattress, have bought one, or have seen the ads. But koalas are really, really important customer to GCS and sits within our e-commerce team within MMS. I love this story because this isn't just about selling ads to a business. It's about sitting down with a business like Koala who had huge ambitions, and we sat down with them to understand what their growth plans were. And we built a strategy to work out how we could help grow and accelerate their business growth. And the three key things that we really focused on was helping them on their digital transformation journey. So they were on a mission to bring everything in-house and move away from a traditional agency model. We do work with a lot of customers that have traditional agency models, but if anyone's worked on in-house onboarding, it's a big process, and we played a really big role in helping with that. We also focused on always on experimentation, and we continue to. So we do a lot of experiments at Google within the advertising marketing programs of what we do, running tests to create more engaging, relevant ads. And this is where you really get to go behind the scenes of the science behind advertising, which is such a great thing to learn as a salesperson in ads. And the last part is partnering to really scale on their business expansion. So, you know, you would have noticed probably if you are a fan of Koala that they're not just mattresses anymore. They have pillows, they have lots of other things. And we really help a lot of businesses like Koala to optimize for the future and go into those new spaces of expansion. So I just wanted to share that with you. You can look this up online and grow through Think with Google, which is a great platform to look at some of our customer stories. There's a little bit more detail behind that. And so just lastly, I think this is just super important to end this section of the live stream on such a fun display of who we are at GCS. So fun and belonging is really at the centre of everything we do here within GCS. We believe that when you are having fun and you are connecting with each other, you're going to exchange ideas, you're going to build that psychological safety and trust, and be able to take on really interesting, complex customer problems together. So we do like to reserve a bit of time away from the office, away from the craziness of work life, to really connect in with each other. And you can see a group of people sitting down to a table there. That's our in-house kitchen at Google where we can do cooking classes. So this is just an example of how much we embrace diversity. As I said at the beginning, diversity of thought, diversity of opinion, experience, ways of learning, and working styles as well. So with that, I believe we are heading to the next section of today's live stream. All right, welcome panel. How lucky are we to have these incredible Googlers here for our panel? So I'll be running this panel with everybody. I've already spoken about my professional history, but now we're going to hear from some of these incredible Googlers on the call. So if I could just get everybody to briefly just share their name, description of their current role, and also where you're located. So I might start with Arshad.
Hello, Jess. Good morning and good afternoon. And good afternoon to everybody who's watching us on the live stream. I'm Arshad. I am based in Sydney. I co-lead our independent agency business here in Australia. Very excited to be here on the panel with everybody.
Thank you, Ashad. Ashley, I'm going to hand over to you.
Hi, everybody. It's great to see you. I'm Ashley Smith. I'm a partner lead in the traditional media agency team in GCS. So this means I partner with advertisers, large and small, and their media agencies in order to unlock new ways of growing their business. Prior to joining Google, I worked at advertising agencies, I worked at media agencies, and I've been with Google for close to 2.5 years now. I'm based in Sydney, but last year I lived in Perth whilst we were all working from home. Moved back in January, which involved an awesome 4,200 kilometer drive and a lot of audiobooks.
Wow. I bet you got through a lot of audiobooks there and saw some incredible sights. Thanks, Ashley. Britt, I'm going to hand over to you.
Yeah, amazing. Hi, guys. I'm Britt. I'm a digital strategist in the Engage team. Might sound super fancy, but pretty much what it means is I get to work with around 55 small to medium businesses at the really early stages of their digital journey and really help them scale up with Google Ad products. I've actually only been at Google for 7 months, so I'm here for the new journey along with all of you. If you apply for the roles, we'll all be nooglers together. And before Google, I was in consumer goods and an account management role.
Thanks, Britt. And for those on the call, for those on the live stream, we refer to our new Googlers as nooglers. So that's what Britt was referring to there with regards to the noogler point. And lastly, I'm going to hand over to Georgia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Georgia. I'm based in Sydney and I am an account executive working with Jess in our mid-market sales team in GCS. As part of my job, I work with businesses that are kind of midway through their journey with Google Ads. I work with 2 strategists and an analyst and some product specialists to help these businesses kind of find new ways to grow with partnership with Google. I've been at Google now for about 8 years, and in that time I've worked with the Google Cloud organization. I've been in GCS now for 3 years. Funnily enough, I started as a grad, and saying 8 years, it's been a huge journey. Done a lot of things in that time with Google, and excited to share more about that on this call with you guys today.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Georgia, and everybody else. Let's jump into it. So we are going to start this panel really just exploring the pathway to Google. So I'll start with Ash and then we'll move to Britt. What was your path to Google? How did you find the role? And what was it about the role that really attracted you?
Well, Jess, I think the short version of this story is that my path to Google involved lots of patience and a fair bit of persistence as well. The longer version is that it spanned 2 continents, probably about 7 years and 12 interviews. I'm passionate about technology and how it's transforming the world we live in, and felt that Google and still feel that Google is at the heart of this. As a result, when I began applying for Google when I lived in London in about 2012, but it wasn't until I moved to Australia in 2016 that my experience and the available roles started to line up. I interviewed for a number of roles, but they were either too senior or junior, and based on my experience, they weren't quite the right fit. It wasn't until 2019 that there was something that really aligned with my experience and my skill set, which is the role that I'm in today. And what attracted me to the role, firstly, the people, everyone I met was equally as kind, friendly, and welcoming. And secondly, it was the opportunity to help businesses and their agencies solve some of their most exciting and meaty business problems.
Amazing. I love how you talked about persistence and alignment to what your skills are. I really encourage everyone on the live stream to think about this. John spoke about so many different roles within Google customer sales, and great point there, Ash. Thank you so much. Britt, I'd love to hear from you, our noogler.
Yay. Okay, I'll tell you all a little bit of a story then. I did 6 years at university, which just seems outrageous. I studied both law and business, majoring in economics. So literally nothing to do with what I'm doing now. Then graduated into consumer goods, graduate program, I suppose, where we rotated roles every sort of 6 months. So I got a lot of breadth across these consumer goods companies. And then I completed the grad program and thought finally maybe I'd be good enough to try my hand at Google. After seeing some roles advertised on LinkedIn, I'd reached out to a couple of people who are on the corners of my network to ask a couple of questions, and just dove straight in. If it's comforting to anyone on the call, while I was like an avid user of Google Shopping Ads products, I'd never actually hopped into Google Ads myself. So like John said before, we all come from different backgrounds, and you don't need an advertising role to be great at a role here at Google. Really, the reason I went for Google in the end was all just about the ability to create a significant impact on these businesses that we deal with, particularly owner-operated businesses. This could change someone's life, the work that we're doing with them.
Thanks so much, Britt, for really talking about the energy and the passion that you have for transforming businesses. And I think, we've just spoken to 2 people out of 4 people on this panel, and I think it's pretty clear the level of diversity just in these 2 examples and these 2 people. And hopefully this is really showing everyone on the call exactly what we mean by diversity of thought and experience and background to help us drive our business forward. So we're going to move on to career development at Google, because this is something that, for me personally as a leader, is extremely important that I help my people in my team develop in their careers, not only in the role that they have, but also where they want to go next. And I'd like to pass to Arshad and Georgia for this one, because the 2 of you have had such incredible careers at Google. And you spoke a little bit about it in your introduction, and I'd love to go a little bit deeper with both of you. And I'm going to start with Arshad, because you've had a super long-term career and done lots of different things.
Yes.
So tell us about your career progression at Google, and how has Google really supported you to navigate it? And then I'll hand to Georgia for the same.
Absolutely, pleasure. So look, similar to Britt and a few others on the panel today, my background as well is not in advertising or marketing, right? I come from mathematics and electronics. That was my majors, when I did my bachelor's. And then I did an executive MBA similar to yourself while working, Jess. I joined Google 14 years ago. And it's been a very long time, and it's been an amazing journey when I look back to see myself develop into this professional that I have, working across multiple different teams and organizations within Google. Over the last 14 years, I've had the opportunity to work in about 5 different markets, working with different customers, partners, publishers. And throughout that journey, if there's been one common theme, and when I look back, it's been the support that I've had at Google, from my managers, from the mentors that I've had at Google. They've just really supported me through this journey of my career progression. At every different stage, when I had to look at, making a different career move or take another role, go for another job, prepare for an interview, I always had support. I had support from my managers or a mentor that, that helped me get through that. Along with that, I think the other amazing thing that we have at Google is the learning and development opportunity that we have. We've got an amazing system, but it's open for all. It's available to everyone who's interested in, continuing to, learn, develop, pick up skills that, potentially sometimes are not even aligned to your core job, but something that you're interested in, potentially that you want to use for your next role. So things like these have just been amazing for a person like me. Just outside, finished graduation, did a couple of roles in say banking and consulting, and then moving on to Google and having this opportunity to really learn and develop and have that support all along the way. So I think if I have to summarize, it's just been the opportunity to work with amazing managers, mentors, as well as a system that we have in place that helps us continuously focus on learning and development at Google.
Thanks, Arshad. I love how you spoke about just the things that you didn't realize about yourself that you uncover when you come to a place like Google, and that there are actually strengths within you that lay a bit dormant, and it takes your leader or your manager and exposure to different things to help kind of uncover that. Thanks so much for sharing. I'd love to hand to Georgia now. Georgia, you've moved around the business a lot and you've had to flex so many different skills. You've come from cloud, you've moved to GCS, you were an account strategist, you're now an incredible account executive leading some of the biggest partnerships that we have with our customers here in GCS. Would love to hear about your career progression at Google and really how has Google support you navigate that? Helped to support you navigate that. Sorry.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Jess. So my career journey in general and at Google I would categorize it as kind of being a bit of a squiggly line as opposed to something like linear up and to the right. Funnily enough, I studied languages at university, majoring in Chinese. I thought I was going to have a big career like as a diplomat or live in China or do something along those lines. And what ended up happening was I had a friend of mine who had gotten a job at Google and was really loving it, loving the culture, loving the work that he was doing. He suggested that I have a look at roles that were available. And what I knew about Google at the time was that Google was doing really big things with technology. It was having a huge impact on consumers' lives, but also with businesses, with the scale of the platforms through search, Google Apps, Google Maps, etc. So I was pretty jazzed about that, and that's why that's what brought me to Google in the first place. As a graduate, my first job at Google was calling leads of people who wanted to use Google Apps for their business. Right. And so I was calling down, people from all over APAC, small business owners who wanted to get started on cloud-based collaboration tech. And that was kind of my entry into sales. Really interesting jobs, a lot of stories that came out of it. My next step was, I felt like after a year, I knew the ropes and I felt like I could give back and help train other grads that were coming up through my team. And so I moved into a team lead capability, and that for me was it was a challenge for me at the time, being 23, 24, managing a team of, I think I was managing 7 to 8 people in that first manager role. But Google supported me. They gave me mentors who are a couple of years my senior. They sent me on training programs to help me kind of step into that. Now, at the end of my first 5 years at Google, I got a bit of an itch to expand my horizons, literally, and I wanted to do some travel that I hadn't done when I was at university. So I made a very difficult decision then to leave Google, funnily enough, and I took 12 months. I spent that time traveling around the world. I did some really interesting backpacking trips and rode a bicycle across Europe, really challenged myself physically and mentally. Throughout that, I was thinking, what do I want to do next with my career? And it wasn't, when I left Google the first time, it wasn't necessarily my intention to come back. But over the course of that sabbatical that I took, I realized more and more that Google was where I wanted to come back to. Now, I'd spent the first 5 years in cloud, helping businesses understand how Google's cloud technology can help them transform. I'd seen John speak to the business on a couple of occasions about the work that he was doing with GCS. I loved his energy. I had some friends working in the GCS team and they seemed to be having a great time. So I thought, you know what? GCS is where I want to come back to Google, and GCS is where I want to go. And I came back to GCS as an account strategist, this time working with businesses on their advertising strategy. It was a technical role, technical-ish, working with businesses on how they can pull the levers in Google's technology to help find new audiences, expand into new markets, do magical things. And I did that for 2.5 years. At the end of that experience, just in the past 2 years, I've been leading a team working with mid-market sized businesses as an executive. And I've really enjoyed being able to kind of help people move into that next phase of their careers working with our customers, as well as seeing the impact that our technology can have with businesses that are really trying to accelerate to the next wave of their growth.
Thanks so much, Georgia. I loved how you spoke about the squiggly line because this is a very important thing to remember when we're looking at our careers. And when you come into a place like Google, it becomes even more squiggly because there is so much opportunity. And I think just even hearing from Arshad and Georgia, it's pretty clear how infinite the opportunities are. And if you can come in and embrace the squiggly line, you will go on some pretty cool adventures. So thank you so much. All right, we're going to move into current role and a little bit more about the organisation. So we've spoken about pathway into Google, career development while you've been here. So I'd love to hear from Britt and Arshad on this one. So what are some of the really interesting projects and challenges that you've been able to work on while working here at Google? I'm going to pass to Britt first.
Yeah, amazing. I'm actually super excited. Got thrown in the deep end quite early on, clearly. And we are piloting the launch of our scaled business in New Zealand. So anyone from New Zealand on the call, hey. If you can't tell by my filthy accent, I'm also a Kiwi. So it's really amazing to be working with these Kiwi businesses, doubling down on understanding how they need support, particularly around export. And these are brands that I've known since childhood. So being given an opportunity this early on to launch a little pilot over in Kiwi land has just been so much fun. So stay tuned. That's a business that you like the sound of. No doubt we'll be looking for more people in the future.
Amazing. Britt, super excited for you to take on that role and really, help those customers and clients in New Zealand. For me, Jess, two things come to mind. John spoke about this earlier. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is at the heart of GCS, and I'm leading the DEI pillar this year for our business. Bringing your whole self to work, feeling like you belong at GCS is something that we are really, we pay a lot of attention to, and is at the heart of what we do here in GCS. So we've got a few initiatives, that we have lined up for this year to ensure that everybody understands what DEI means and is in GCS, and just get everybody involved. Just to make sure that it's everybody's responsibility within our organization. So, drive that awareness, drive that education across the business. The other thing that I'm super excited about, and which is again at the heart of what we do at GCS, is helping our customers and clients grow. So I lead the international growth, go-to-market and strategy for our business. Internally, we call it export. Britt alluded to it a little earlier as well. So we are helping our Aussie and Kiwi businesses go beyond Australian and Kiwi borders and expand into international markets. So that's, again, something that I'm leading. I've got an amazing team that works with me on this across APAC. And we are super excited. We've helped a ton of customers already to really take their businesses, which are Australian and New Zealand businesses locally, but are now going and doing amazing things in other markets. So we're just excited to do more of that this year. And I'm very excited about leading that project as well.
Two amazing examples. And Britt, I loved how you spoke about being thrown into the deep end. Google Customer Solutions is in hyper growth, and so we are figuring out all of this together, which is why we reference the entrepreneurial culture that we have and something that we really, really value. And I love, Arshad, your example as well around DEI. I obviously feel very passionate about that with the work that I do on our Reconciliation Action Plan as well, and our commitment to reconciliation here in Australia. So hopefully that gives everyone a great understanding of really how broad you can go in and outside of your day job. Okay. Now, we can't do all of that unless we have healthy work-life balance. Very important, and something that I personally try very, very hard with my amazing team of 9, soon to be 13 people, to really help role model and also support well-being and work-life balance. We all know that that's really hard to achieve, but if we can all try and work on it together, it becomes really powerful. And I'd love to call upon Ash for this example around really how your work-life balance has changed or not changed since joining Google.
Thanks, Jess. And as I mentioned before, I joined Google in 2019. And as I imagine is the case for all of us, my working life has changed a huge amount over the last couple of years. Initially, I spent an incredible 6 months in the office and had the weight gain around my middle to show for it before COVID and work from home affected us all. And then we transferred to working remotely, which, whilst challenging, partly because I had very few pairs of track pants, Google, GCS, the managers, John Ball, Jess, Arshad, they all really supported us and worked hard to ensure that the culture that we knew and loved in GCS could live on in a remote environment. Whilst we were working remotely, my partner and I had our first child, a lockdown baby. So if I look a little tired, that's why. I think it hides the dark circles quite well. But we took the opportunity to relocate to Perth, where we could lean on family and friends for support. And as a new parent, I'd be remiss, whilst we're talking about work-life balance, not to talk about the great support and the benefits that were available to me as a parent at Google. And whilst I was in Perth, I took 3 months leave, unfortunately not to cycle around Europe like Georgia, but to change nappies and enjoy a little bit of the warm weather in Perth. But fast forward to 2022, I've relocated back to Sydney after that mammoth car journey, and GCS is moving to a hybrid working week. So we're going to spend 3 days in the office, 2 days at home. For me, this offers the best of both worlds. Home time to get stuck into deep work and really focus, but also be present for when my daughter's at home, to do the odd daycare pickup and drop off. And then office time to re-energize the colleagues, collaborate with clients, benefit from all the water cooler chat, so to speak, and of course, enjoy the food and the coffee, put that weight back on. But I think despite all of the challenges that we've experienced, I will say that at Google, you were treated very much as an adult and trusted to get the job done. So this, can of course mean some long days on some really exciting projects, but also means that I've got the flexibility to squeeze in a gym session when I can, do a daycare drop off or a pickup, and spend time with my daughter when she is awake. Thank you, Jess.
Thanks so much, Ash. This is such a great example of life. And whether it's changing nappies or cycling around the world or doing an MBA on the weekend. But yeah, great to know that you've had such a positive experience so far at Google. Okay, we're going to move into the next part, which is really just understanding from our Googlers what they like most about working at Google. I think it's been pretty positive so far, but would love to hear anything more particularly around this. And I'd love to hear from Arshad and Britt on this one. So what is it that you like most about working at Google? And I think coming from Britt being a noogler and Arshad being very well tenured, it's going to be interesting to hear these answers.
All right, I can jump in. So look, John alluded to this earlier. It is the people. It may sound, that, hey, this is something that we are all potentially sharing as a common point, but it comes down to the amazing, intelligent, super driven, hungry, really out there to really help our clients and customers, and really at the same time focus on growth, not just for the businesses that we work with, but also in our own professional growth as well. So I think that's been something that has been super exciting, as part of being here at Google for a really long time. And at the same time, it has been, the access that I've had and that we all have at Google to people, again, right? We have amazing senior professionals within the organization who we can just, put in some time with to have a discussion around, hey, look, I've got this problem that I'm actually trying to solve, or this business problem that I'm actually trying to solve, or trying to develop myself as a professional. You've been on that journey yourself. Can I get 30 minutes of your time? I've been here 15 years almost, and I've never had a no. Can you believe that? Every time I've reached out to somebody, they have given me time. So that's been one of the most exciting things and one of the most fruitful things that I've had the pleasure of experiencing at Google, and I continue to do so, which is amazing.
Yeah, definitely. For me, it was like the onboarding process. I was onboarded virtually in one of those pesky little COVID lockdowns. And if there was one company that you think would just nail virtual onboarding, it was Google, and they did not disappoint. You have like a buddy assigned from day one, and I think I'd spend like 2 hours on a call every day with her. You've got sales school where you've got dedicated 2 months to be upskilled in the product and the selling journey. And then like team meetings where half of the team meetings just descend into chaos because we play Pictionary virtually. So the onboarding process was just ridiculous. But then even just thinking back to the interview process before I started at Google, I'm going to echo again around the people thing, but the recruiters are just the loveliest people you will ever meet. And I still go and catch up for coffee with the recruiters who got me into this role. They were so helpful, telling you not only how to prepare for these interviews, but more importantly, find you the role that actually fit you. They're not going to force you into a square if you're a circle. So definitely lean on these amazing group of recruiters to help you out. They're both the shining parts of my journey so far.
Amazing. I love these examples. And I think the point of what Arshad said around that you don't often get a no is because Googlers are insatiably curious and they want to be on the journey with whatever you're trying to solve or work on. So thank you so much, and great. Your onboarding process was good to hear, Britt. Okay, we're going to wrap up last couple of minutes now of the panel. This has been so fun. I'm going to hand to Georgia, and I'd love to hear just really quickly, Georgia, on what the GCS culture is like compared to the culture of the company as a whole. So you've worked in different parts of the company. So talk to us about GCS culture.
In 2 words, big energy. Huge energy in GCS, which I've always loved. It's what brought me to GCS in the first place. And I think a lot of that energy comes from the fact that in our roles, working on the front lines with Australian businesses, we're having a direct impact on those businesses, but also on our economy here in Australia, which is huge. Using our technology to help businesses grow, it's extremely rewarding, and it's very important work. So this is where I think a lot of the fun and the kind of the people that get attracted to GCS helps contribute to our culture. I'd also say that in GCS, there is such an attention to individual well-being and self-development above and beyond, core role skills. We have incredible programs at Google to help send people overseas to spend 3 months working in a different role in the New York office, in the Istanbul office. We have an incredible education subsidy program as well, where you can get, I think it's 2/3 of the cost of a role-related course refunded, or 1/3 if it's completely random and not related to your job at all. I trained as a yoga teacher back in 2015, and Google supported me on that journey. It was a very expensive course, but they paid for 1/3, which was fantastic. So this is where I think, GCS is super supportive of its individuals, and we have an incredible, very supportive culture here.
Thank you so much, Georgia. Great point. And I echo all of that. Hall Pass helped me with my MBA. So there you go. And I'm sure it did for Arshad as well. So that wraps up our panel. What a fun panel this has been. We couldn't have picked a better group of Googlers to share these experiences. I'm so lucky to work with all of you. And thank you so much for your time today. So now we're going to move on to the next part of our live stream. And Britt spoke about our wonderful recruiters earlier, and I would like to introduce Fadila, Fads, as we all call her. This is one of the amazing recruiters that Britt was talking about. So over to you, Fads.
Thank you so much, Jess. And thank you to everyone else who's spoken on the call. I mean, this is just an incredible event, and I hope everyone is getting a lot out of it. So hi, everyone. My name is Fadila, or you can call me Fads. I bet there are quite a few people watching who I have met before, so hello again. I am the recruitment lead for Google Customer Solutions, aka GCS. So you might notice me say GCS quite a bit. So that is the acronym for Google Customer Solutions. And I work with a few other superstar recruiters to hire for this amazing team. I also hire for marketing, communications, finance, accounting, executive assistants, and the whole G-Tech organization. So I have many, many hats. That's quite a few hats. Now, fun fact about me is that I am obsessed with karaoke and pop music overall. So give me a microphone, fake or real, and I will probably burst out into a song. So I am located in Sydney, and this will be my 14th year at Google, specifically at Sydney. So I have spent most of my adult life at Google, and I actually moved to Google Sydney from Perth, where I was one of 3 people at my university to study marketing and information systems. Basically, no one thought that marketing and tech could go together. Now look at the world now. What a difference, right? So fast forward to now, if there's a poster child for career development at Google, that would be me. I started out in sales, and then I moved into the technical specialist side and YouTube advertising. I realized my strength was people, and I moved into learning and development globally, where I designed the graphics and interface for Academy for Ads, which I think some of you may have used before. Then destiny took me towards recruitment, which is where I've been in the last 4 years. And I love it because it's the main reason why I've stayed at Google for so long is the people. And I truly believe I am the person I am today because of all the beautiful Googlers I've met in my career. So my experience shows you that we highly value career development at Google. And if you want to move horizontally to another team, we will support and encourage that. And that's the magic of being at Google. Wherever you start in the business, you will find your career path that you're looking for, and you'll find opportunities that will fill your soul. So today I'm going to give you an inside look into GCS career opportunities and how we hire. So I hope the presentations today have made you excited about GCS roles. So let's talk a little bit more and get into details about what types of roles tend to exist in GCS. First of all, the job openings or job roles that are open are mainly located in Sydney and Auckland. Most of the roles available in GCS can be broken down into 3 broad groups: account strategists, account managers, and senior sellers. So let me break that down even more. So first, account strategists, or also known as digital growth strategists or digital strategists. These are your frontline sellers. They are experts in our core advertising products. They focus on either new business acquisitions or account level growth or upselling. The aim of this role is to help customers turn business goals into successful Google advertising campaigns. We're looking at those that have strong consultative sales skills, an understanding of digital marketing tools and campaign management. And a knack for data is also really important in these roles. The next bucket are account managers. And these are experts in executive engagement and business planning. Rather than focusing on campaigns and product success, these roles are more focused on building long-term relationships with customers and figuring out how they can invest strategically in Google advertising to meet business goals. Account managers tend to be comfortable meeting with business owners and C-level executives regularly. They should be able to think big picture about how Google can help a business grow and have really strong business acumen and advertising industry knowledge. The last bucket are senior sellers, also known as agency leads, sales managers, account executives, or market leads. And these are experts in coaching and strategy. Being a senior seller in GCS gives you the opportunity to impact hundreds of thousands of businesses at a time through deliberate, thoughtful coaching around tactical sales skills, product knowledge, and sales strategy. So senior sellers should have a balance of strong sales and strategy experience, thought leadership or industry experience in advertising, consulting, or media, and should also demonstrate an ability to coach and lead a diverse, dynamic team of sellers. Now I'm going to shift gears a little bit I hope that made sense for everyone. And now I'm going to, answer a big question that's probably on a lot of your minds, which is compensation and benefits at Google. So the panelists did touch upon that a little bit, but I'll give you another overview. In terms of compensation numbers, we're unable to share concrete numbers as a lot of factors contribute to your compensation package, including interview feedback, your experience, parity with other team members, etc. So therefore, we can only discuss solid compensation numbers at the final stages of the hiring process. And that is probably why you won't see any amounts in our job descriptions. Our compensation is broken down into base, bonus, and equity, or Google shares. And our philosophy is that we reward on performance. So the stronger your performance, the stronger you will be rewarded. In addition to a generous compensation package, we have a fantastic benefits package to ensure you are supported not just at work, but also outside of work. And that includes, of course, super, insurances that cover health insurance, life insurance, income protection, etc. But what encouraged me actually to join Google and stay at Google for so long are what we call perks. So that includes the breakfast, lunch, and sometimes dinners in the office, the cafes with baristas, so you never have to buy a coffee again, the on-site gym, and the boot camp classes and the dance studio and the yoga studio, probably to work off all the food that you've ate at the office. And we also have an on-site well-being center where you can have doctor checkups, massages, a physio, vaccinations, flu shots, etc. So we have extra benefits on top of that. Like mentioned before, we've got travel insurance, education reimbursement, and also a very generous maternity and paternity leave policy too that Ash was talking about, and many, many more. So now I'm going to move on to what are we looking for and answering some FAQs that I get from candidates quite a bit. So here's some advice and some pro tips if you'd like to apply for a role. The question is, what should people keep in mind when reading or reviewing job opportunities? My advice is pay special attention to the minimum and preferred qualifications. So in order to be competitive for a role, you should be able to demonstrate alignment with all of the minimum and some or all of the preferred qualifications. Interviewing at Google is extraordinarily competitive. So be thoughtful about how well aligned to these qualifications you are before you apply to improve your chances of hearing from a recruiter. And also, do you know anyone at Google who could refer you? We do pay special attention to referrals. So reach out to your network and see if you have any friends, family, contacts that could refer you into the business. The next question I get a lot, where do people go wrong in identifying the right job fit? So in many cases, candidates will apply to lots of different roles using a pretty generic resume. But because interviewing at Google is so competitive, recruiters have to specifically look for candidates with experience that aligns to the minimum and preferred qualifications. If you do meet the minimum and preferred qualifications, make sure that's illustrated in your resume. And that will give a recruiters a very clear signal that we should reach out to you. Another question we get, how do other industry job titles align with Google job profiles? So titles will vary from team to team, so read the responsibilities and job descriptions carefully. In your resume, be sure to include month and year dates of graduation and each full-time job you've worked in. We also love to see achievements with metrics. And as an extra tip, please always upload a PDF version of your resume. Great. Okay, now I can move on to the hiring process. So I believe we've got a slide for that. Excellent. All right, so step one, apply online. So you can do this through our Google Careers site or through LinkedIn. Usually the LinkedIn ads tend to show up a few days after it's on the Google Careers site. So it's best to set up alerts on the Google Careers site so you get emailed as soon as that job is live. Or you could apply through a referral. Second step, you chat with a recruiter. You chat with me or one of my other team members. We will reach out to you if your CV looks like it aligns with the role very closely, and that is usually done via phone or via Google Meet. Next, interviews. So if we decide we'd like you to proceed to interviews, you will then be booked in to meet with one of the leaders or a peer of the role, and that is currently being held mainly virtually. We don't know when it will be held on site yet, but mainly it will be done over video call or over Google Meet. We help prepare candidates for interviews by holding APAC-wide interview prep sessions and local prep sessions as well to really help alleviate those nerves so you know what to expect. Once you've completed all your interviews and you would like to proceed and we would like you to be our finalist, we will then conduct a 1 to 2 week evaluation process. And once that's completed, if all goes well, your recruiter will reach out and extend an offer. So that's the process. And my last word of advice is, like all of the stories we've heard today, over 60% of Googlers don't get in on their first interview process. Usually they secure a role in the 3rd or 4th time. So don't feel disheartened if you don't succeed on the first try. We're happy for you to apply again and again, and we will wait for you to gain more experience, to fine-tune your skills, and be ready for that right role that aligns with your career. So I hope this was helpful. And I'm excited to see some of your names apply for our roles in the future. Thank you. Back to Jess.
Thank you, Fads. Well, that wraps up our live stream. I can't believe we're already at the end. And what an amazing session it's been. Thank you to all of the panelists, to John and to Fads and all the behind the scenes people who made this happen today and bring this incredible session to all of you out there listening. So I really hope that this gave you an appetite to learn about your career opportunities within GCS, Google Customer Sales. And I know that I speak on behalf of our staffing team and my fellow leaders and the people in my own team that we're really excited to hopefully meet you all soon. So please click on the link if you are keen to apply and keen to suss out what jobs are available at Google, and you can connect with all of us on LinkedIn as well, as I've seen a lot of you already have, which is great. So if you guys like to win prizes, please scan this QR code. We would love feedback on our session. And you also have the opportunity to win a Google Nest Hub. So please do that. Feedback is how we run our business, and we ask for feedback all the time. So this is really, really important to ensure that we are building the next generation of GCS people. So hope to see you on the other end, everybody. Take care, be safe, stay dry, all the things, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much.